ago, I exhibited at Design Festa, Japan's largest art market. If you're not familiar with it, Design Festa is a huge deal in the Japanese art scene, with over 6,000 booths split into all kinds of themed areas. There's a light painting section where artists paint massive murals over the 2 days, only to have them torn down and thrown away at the end. There is a low light area for artworks that glow or light up, and there's live performances too. It's basically the Disneyland of art markets, and it's just an incredibly fun weekend. I'm super excited because this was my first show since I transitioned into doing art full-time, and I actually hit a personal sales record. Over the 2 days, I made 245k yen, which is just over $1,500 USD. Now, it might not sound like a huge number compared to what artists can pull in at a big con in the US, but everything is so much cheaper in Japan, so it is actually a pretty good number if I do say so myself. Today, I'm going to recap Design Festa and give you a realistic, behind-the-scenes look at what it's like to be a self-employed artist running a booth in Japan. I'll show you how I set up and organize my booth space, some of the amazing encounters that made this weekend so extra special, and a quick look at my own little art haul. Finally, I'll give you a detailed breakdown of my actual sales numbers, which items sold well, which didn't, and what made this the highest grossing market for me. So let's go! I was running a little behind on the first morning, and I got to the event hall an hour and a half before opening time.
こんにちは。F なんですけど、今はどちらですか？
今ここなんですね。なので、
はい、わかりました。
はい、
はい、ありがとうございます。
Walking in, there were already a lot of booths that looked pretty close to being finished. As much as I wanted to stop and admire the artwork, I really could not spare any time. I know a lot of the fairs in the US let you set up the day before, but for Design Festa, you have to do everything on the morning of, and it's always a frantic rush to the finish line. We managed to finish setup just in time for opening. Here's a look at my finished booth. I always show a video of me sketching on location so people can quickly understand what I do even if they're too shy to talk to me. I also have my original sketchbooks on display for everyone to flip through. I brought my newly released zine Tokyo Hidden Gems, which is available in 3 languages, along with some of my older zines. The majority of the space goes to my postcards since they're always the best sellers. I offer a buy 4 get 1 free promo, which helps to boost sales quite a lot. I painted some postcard-sized originals specifically for Design Festa, and I made more G-clay prints this time as well. These are printed on real watercolor papers, so they're quite nice, but they don't usually sell that well, so I don't use up a lot of space for them. Right at opening, I was completely caught off guard when 2 people rushed straight to my table. I actually sold 3 of my originals right away, which is extremely rare. Usually at these markets, people tend to gravitate toward the lower priced postcard prints. And normally I don't sell more than 4 or 5 originals over the whole weekend. So I'm very grateful to this one lovely customer who flew in all the way from the US to come to Design Festa and made it a point to come to my table the first thing. This was my first Design Festa since I started this YouTube channel 4 months ago, and I'm just blown away by how many people showed up and said that they traveled to Japan specifically for Design Festa after watching my video about it. I've met subscribers visiting from all over the world, from Brazil to Finland to Australia. The amount of support that you guys have shown me really means the world to me. I had one customer from Singapore who works for Japan Airlines, and she got both of my Japan zines, Tokyo Hidden Gems and Japan Diary. And she said she's going to leave them on the plane for passengers to flip through when they're on her flights. That is such a sweet thing to do, and it's so wonderful to imagine that my little travel sketches are going to make their own trips all over the world like this. Emily and Didas from Spilled Ink stopped by as well, and they basically became a walking tourist destination as people kept recognizing them.
Hi, teeth.
Oh, the hidden gems.
Emily picked up a massive haul of my work again, and once again, I'm just incredibly grateful for her support. I also met Inkwell, who traveled all the way from the US to experience what it's like to table in Japan. He runs a channel focused on the business side of art, and he did a mini interview with me about being an artist in Japan. Definitely go check out his Design Festa video, and I'm going to put a link down below. Throughout the weekend, I kept getting little presents from people. It was so sweet. I actually ended up with more water and snacks than I came here with, and one Japanese customer gave me one of these hot compress eye masks. It says here that it's designed to soothe tired eyes. That's just perfect for relaxing after a grueling couple of days prepping for the art market. It was such a thoughtful gesture, and honestly, it made me tear up a little bit. At the end of the day, making these wonderful connections with visitors is the absolute best part about doing art fairs for me. Of course, it feels amazing when somebody compliments my artwork, but my favorite moments are watching someone's eyes light up as they flip through my travel sketchbooks. I can almost see the exact moment a light bulb goes off in their head, and I think, hey, I want to start documenting my life through drawing too. Knowing I've inspired someone to pick up a paintbrush is just the best feeling in the world. I also want to show you what things look like behind the table because it's really narrow back here and I had to optimize the heck out of it. I got the small size booth, which has a total depth of 90 centimeters. With the table taking up most of that space, it leaves only a tiny 30 centimeter gap, or about 10 inches, for me to work with. First up, I've got this suction cup tape dispenser that attaches to the table easily so I can grab tape single-handed. This comes in super handy when I have a million things going on at once. This is a pocket organizer that hooks onto the table, and I have in here envelopes in 2 sizes for bagging up purchases.
Let me put that in a bag for you.
Oh, thank you.
A portable charger that's connected to my display tablet, and a clipboard for tracking my inventory. It usually gets way too busy for me to note down every single sale, but I just record my starting count and then note down the ending count at the end of the day and cross-check that against my starting and ending funds to see how much I've sold. The back of my postcard doubles as shelf space for my very primitive cash register. Japan is still mostly a cash-based system. I keep my business cards here as well, so I can easily pop one into the envelope with each purchase. Here I have a collapsible water cup, which I use as a mini trash can in a pinch. There's also a little bit of storage space at the bottom of the rack that I use for small items throughout the day. And down below the table, I keep my extra inventory sitting on top of my suitcases. I'm really utilizing every single inch I've got back here. Now, the worst part about exhibiting at this awesome event is that I don't really have the time to walk around, see the exhibit, and to shop this incredible art for myself. That said, the booth directly across the aisle from me had these really cute cat t-shirts and tote bags. So when I had a little bit of downtime, I quickly ran over and bought this t-shirt of a cat licking its paw. I just love how it's simple and clean, but captures that exact quirky cat posture so perfectly. I also had several friends exhibiting here, and I really wanted to get some of their work. My friend Eileen helped me out by acting as my personal shopper, sending me photos from the floor. She visited our friend Isa, who handcrafts these gorgeous cloth flower accessories, and I picked out this very cute strawberry basket brooch. I mean, I had to choose from a low-res photo in a hurry, so I wasn't entirely sure what I was getting, but I absolutely love it. On the second day, Isa actually came over to watch my booth for 30 minutes so I could sneak away and do a little bit of shopping myself. She's an absolute lifesaver. I made a beeline for my friend Rita's booth. She does these retro-style fashion illustrations that are simple, tasteful, and super cute. I got this tote bag that I have been obsessed with. These colors are so stunning. I also got this retro beer t-shirt, again with a beautiful color combination, a handful of stickers in different formats, and a postcard featuring vintage Japanese school uniform. Her use of color combos is just so pretty, and it's obvious that she put a lot of care into her packaging design. It's hard to believe that this was her first time selling merch. Then I ran over to my friend Duel's booth to check out her new items. She does these wonderfully quirky character illustrations. I got some of her new stickers and washi tape. I especially love this sticker sheet. Each individual sticker is actually a different drawing, so it almost looks like a small animation sequence. Lastly, in the name of transparency, I want to share exactly how much money I made from this weekend's booth. Over the 2 days, I made 245k Japanese yen, which is just over $1,500 USD. After subtracting all of the expenses, I made a net profit of just over 1,000 US dollars. This is actually the most I've ever made at Design Festa, although it's by a pretty small margin. My postcard prints continue to be my #1 bestseller by far, with over 300 sold. My zines also did pretty well. The newly released Tokyo Hidden Gems was a big hit, easily outselling all of my older zines. On the other hand, my stickers continue to be kind of lukewarm, which is in line with my past markets. And the cat pouches didn't sell as well as previous events. But don't worry, Oreo is still getting plenty of extra scratches and pets for his creative contribution to the design. I also only sold 3 G-Clay prints, which I kind of expected. Japanese customers usually like the smaller postcards, whereas all of my bigger G-Clay prints were sold to international visitors. As for originals, I only sold 4 of them, and all on the first day. I remember 3 of them were bought by the same customer right at opening time. I find that people generally don't buy originals unless they're big fans of yours, so sales can be a little bit unpredictable. Sometimes at a market, I'll sell 6 originals on one day, and sometimes I sell 0. So I try not to go in with any expectation. Reflecting on this weekend, I think 2 main things contributed to this being my highest grossing event. Number 1 is that my new zine, Tokyo Hidden Gems, sold really well because it's not just an art book. It's also a travel guide that introduces my favorite cafes, shops, and parks in Tokyo that even locals don't really know about. A lot of my Japanese customers who live in Tokyo said that, hey, this seems really useful. When you're at a huge event like Design Festa and you're surrounded by incredibly amazing artwork in all directions, having something that isn't just pretty to look at, but is also practical in a unique way makes you stand out so much more. The second factor is that I finally decided to increase the price of my postcards. Now, this might be a touchy subject, but I'm going to say it anyway because I think it'll help out a lot of other artists. And I want you guys to have confidence in your art and not undersell yourselves. Now, artists in Japan usually price their artwork really cheap at events like this. Most other artists at Design Festa sell their postcards for about 200 yen each, which is like a little over $1 USD. It is so dirt cheap, and it's insane to have to keep up with this kind of competition. Now, I use really thick specialty paper for my postcards, so they feel close to a real watercolor painting, and they're twice as thick as standard postcards. Since I started selling 2 years ago, I've always priced them at 250 yen, which is just a little bit higher than other people. I definitely think they're worth more than that, but I've been hesitant to raise my prices because I didn't want to scare people away when everybody else sells them really cheap. This time, I finally pulled the trigger and increased my price to 300 yen. Honestly, it's still cheaper than where I really want to price it, but that's already 30% higher than other people. So I expected a dip in sales, but surprisingly, I actually sold roughly the same amount as I always have at Design Festa. And because postcards are my highest volume item, even a small increase of 50 yen still added up to a sizable bump to my overall revenue. I also increased the price of my original paintings by about 30%. In the past, I was pricing them way too low because they just weren't selling. But this time, even though I sold fewer originals than at the last Design Festa, I actually earned slightly more from them, which is great because that means I'm working less for more income. Lesson learned, do not undervalue your worth, and no matter how you price it, it's still going to be too cheap for the people who want it and too expensive for the people who don't. all in all, I could not be happier with how this Design Festa turned out. It was such a wonderful experience to get to know and connect with everybody, and I'm especially grateful to everyone who came out to support me after seeing me on YouTube and Instagram. This was a hands down and unforgettable experience, and is why Design Festa remains the single art market that I will always prioritize for. And on that note, I am thrilled to announce that I will be exhibiting again at the next Design Festa that's happening this November 14th and 15th. So mark your calendars. I usually do better in the fall events because that's when I launch my calendar for the next year, and they're always a big hit. I'll start prepping for my calendars around September, and they will be available on my online store for international shipping as well. So keep your eyes out for future updates and sneak peeks on my Instagram and YouTube. If you get a chance to visit Tokyo this November, definitely try to check out Design Festa. And since I will officially have a table, please stop by and say hi. Getting to meet you guys in person just totally makes my day and makes all of the hard work so worth it. Thank you so much for coming along on this art market recap and for all of your incredible support on my art journey. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!